So, what do you think of death and dying? What does that mean to you?
Um, Kind of like Fortnite
What about Fortnite?
when you die in it.
I think death is like an ascension to a better place.
Well, it's something that everybody's going to face no matter what their age is. But as you get older, you tend to think about it more because you know you're getting closer. But it's not something to be afraid of.
Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Let me talk to you about death. Now, death is essentially the ultimate hurdle for human beings. It is what is at the end of the tunnel, our ultimate demise, and it's the fact that we all have to struggle with. However, approaches towards death, as well as the mentality on it, has changed throughout the years and does depend on a couple variables. Oh, you're back again. Well, allow me to continue. Now, there are some factors that have affected people's approach to death. One being the advance in modern medicine. Now, take it back to the 1600s, people were dying left and right from the common cold, the flu, bacterial infections, whereas nowadays, we don't even care about all that stuff. Modern medicine has lifted our life expectancy far into the later years. However, this does bring a downside. As opposed to people being surrounded by death left and right and being accepting of it, we now have it pushed all the way back at the end of this long tunnel, and as such, it gives many people great anxiety. Jesus, quit freaking following me. Alright, well, since you're here, I guess I'll continue. Another factor that affects people's perceptions of death would be culture. Some cultures, such as the Buddhist culture, for example, believe in concepts such as reincarnation, something that gives people comfort and solace when they approach death. Similarly, Christianity offers promises of the afterlife, another thing which helps people calm themselves in their approach to death. Some cultures, however, treat death as a taboo. The Hmong culture, for example, an Asian culture, does not like to talk about death whatsoever. It is strictly forbidden until the person is actively dying. I mean, they are on their deathbed and they are about to die. Only in which case is it appropriate to accept the fact that they are dying and approach it.
Different cultural perceptions of death. For mainstream society, death is spoken about openly, and the traditional way to celebrate a death was to gain full closure and actively plan and prepare for death. Preparing wills, saving to make sure funeral expenses and such are paid for without causing stress on other family members, and providing comfort and care to loved ones as the illness becomes more terminal. Death is celebrated differently in other cultures such as the Hmong. Death is seen in a different light. Mentioning anything about dying will unlock the gate of evil spirits, and death is not spoken about until it becomes imminent. After this occurs, the ill person is dressed in a ceremonial black robe or suit after loved ones carefully wash and groom the corpse. In other cultures, the person's death can be celebrated in a 4-day funeral or cry over the corpse.
Introducing the Kubler-Ross model, 5 stages of grief. Starting with denial, followed by anger, bargaining, depression, and lastly, acceptance.
What is middle knowledge? Middle knowledge is the idea that terminally ill people can know they are dying without fully and emotionally accepting the fact. Examples of middle knowledge. Often characterized by the feeling of hope, due to religion, meditation. For example, some people start to believe their medical predictions are wrong, meaning they believe they have more time than the doctors say. Often, people fantasize about things that will never happen, trips they will never take. The 3 pathways of death. Pathway number 1. Death occurs suddenly. 1 out of every 6 or 7 people die suddenly. Examples include heart attack, car accident, and plane crash.
What's up, kitty? Oh!
Pathway 2. Death occurs after a steady decline. Here, a person is diagnosed with a fatal disease and suddenly declines until passing away. Examples include advanced cancer and ALS.
Hey, Grandpa, how you doing?
Hello, dearie.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? How's the cancer?
Oh, you know, this cancer. I feel like I've been getting sicker and closer to death every single day for the past 14 years. It's almost as if my cancer is a long and steady decline towards death.
Oh, it's okay, Grandpa. It's okay.
Thank you.
Pathway 3. Dying is a long and erratic process. Today, this is the most common pathway to dying. In this pathway, people battle a condition for years with the support of modern medicine and technology until finally passing. The video next will show an example.
Oh, God. Oh, man, I feel great. Oh, I'm so much better. Woo! I feel great.
Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm about to be murdered, and I'm gonna introduce bad death. So bad death is when you have an unexpected death in the family, or you are murdered and have no time to prepare for what is coming.
It's been a good life. And a good death. A good death is defined as one that minimizes our physical distress, maximizes our psychological security, reduces our fear and anxiety, enhances our relationships and how emotionally close we feel to people, fosters our spirituality, and gives us a sense of purpose in our lives.
Palliative care, services, and the hospice movement. Palliative care is defined as any strategy designed to promote dignified dying. It provides alternatives to dying in a hospital, along with personnel that can provide around-the-clock care to help patients die in comfort. Palliative care services are defined as a special unit or service that is devoted to end-of-life care within a traditional hospital setting. These services are meant more for old people with multiple chronic illnesses and people with advanced cancer. As illnesses become more terminal, palliative care services are much more cost-effective and give the ill person a team of professionals that work to give their patients the best comfort until they die. The hospice movement focused on providing more palliative care to dying patients outside of hospitals and giving families support needed to care for the ill at home. The person must certify that the person is 6 months of death and is fully certified by Medicare. It was created by the belief that death is a natural process and needs to occur pain-free.
Where am I?
Gertith, hey, it's me, Dr. Sanchez. I came to talk to you. So, your cold symptoms are only getting worse by the day. Really, you may only have up to 14 hours to live. So, I wanted to talk to you about your advance directive, which is a written document that specifies what sort of care you wish to receive as you're dying.
Okay.
So I have a couple options for you, Gertith, and don't worry, I'm not trying to confuse you or anything, but we have a living will, and this is simply you stating what you want to happen to you when you die, whether that's being cremated or turned into a plant or whatever people are doing nowadays. It's up to you. There's also the durable power of attorney. That's where you choose someone in your family. I mean, I don't know much about you, Gertith. I don't know what's going on in your life, but you could hit up maybe your kids.
Who are you again?
Just stay focused, Gertith. Stay focused. So, regardless, you can choose a family member to step in and to essentially handle everything for you, make all the decisions for you, and to essentially be the shot caller, as the kids say.
Okay.
And then, of course, should you be hospitalized, we do have you could go for a do not resuscitate order. So that means that should your cold really take the most of you and you just can't fight it any longer, then you can choose to not be revived in the hospital and die like a real one. And then there's also a do not hospitalize order. So should you go into a nursing home for your final 14 hours, you won't be hospitalized.
Okay.
Any preference, Gertith?
Who are you again?
We'll go for the power of attorney.
Oh.
Thank you, Gertith. I'll let you get back to it.
Oh. Ah.
So your test results have come in, and it looks like you have the common cold.
No.
I know. We have two options. We can either do the passive euthanasia, where we can get you to sign a do not resuscitate, or we can do the active euthanasia, where I can give you an injection, or I can hand you some drugs of some sort. I do have to warn you, though, the second option is illegal.
Give me the pills. I want
Okay.
this over with.
Here you go.